So for today, I have, for this video anyway, I have a set of fun facts about left-handers for you because um, also happy International Left-Handers Awareness Day, which is today, August 13th, every year. So now you know that, and so maybe next year you already know when it will come around, or um, maybe you were aware already, especially if you are a left-hander, or maybe you just know some left-handed people. Anyway, so here's some fun facts about lefties and uh, interesting things about them, in addition to the fact that they have an awareness day, which is August 13th of every year. Now, if you are left-handed, I'm sure you're well aware that you're in the minority. Right, but you have good company because there's plenty of famous left-handed celebrities, right? Like Oprah Winfrey, super famous, also left-handed. And who else is super famous and left-handed? Lady Gaga, right? And so I said say correct in here. I don't want to make any confusions between right and left here. But also we've got Hugh Jackman is a pretty famous left-hander. And so I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that in any of his movies. But anyway, oh, and Cardi B. She's a very famous left-hander as well. And you know, the Microsoft guy, Bill Gates, he's also left-handed. Yeah. So again, if you are a left-hander, you are in some good company, such as Tina Fey. She's a left-hander, and so is the super famous chef Gordon Ramsay, also left-handed. And we got many more movie stars, not just Hugh Jackman. We've also got Angelina Jolie, Keanu Reeves. Both of them are left-handed, and famous musicians such as Paul McCartney. He's a lefty too. And even there's plenty of really well-known politicians who are left-handers as well, like Barack Obama, for instance. So that's all to say that if you are a left-hander and you might sometimes feel like the world is made for righties, um, you're in good company with the other left-handers out there. And so, in addition to sharing that name of left-handed celebrities, I wanted to share some other fun facts about left-handers with you, which include how lefties have an advantage in some sports, for instance. And so I'm talking for one, water polo. Water polo, right? Even though it's not a super popular professional televised sport in the US, um, water polo teams will really benefit by having a lefty or two on the team, by having a left-hander or two. And what is that? And this is, I'm going to give some sources for things. I'm not just making this stuff up. According to swimming.org, left-hand players of water polo are, although they are rare, they can be a super big advantage for your team because they can both face the goal and be responsive to teammates. So that's a good advantage to have a lefty on your team if they can at the same time face the goal and be responsive to their teammates. That's a really good thing. And of course, you might already know that in boxing, it's an advantage to be a so-called southpaw. You might have learned the term southpaw from watching the movie Rocky or any of the Rocky movies, because Rocky Balboa, although a fictional character, he is famously a southpaw, which is what they call left-handed boxers. And the thing is, according to research, it is shown that left-handed boxers win more fights. And why is that? Because their stance can be confusing to opponents because if you're their opponent, a vast majority of the people you have fought against have been right-handed. And so then you come up against a lefty and their stance is a little different. They're coming at you a little different. And so, yeah, you might lose to them by being confused and just not used to so much boxing against lefties. And again, they're called Southpaws and Rocky Balboa, super famous Southpaw, even though fictional character. Um, now, water polo and tennis are not the only sports where lefties will have an advantage. I mean, boxing and water polo are not, because tennis is also a sport where lefties have an advantage. And this is about among both male and female professional tennis players. This is from an article in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine. Anyway, so whether we're talking male professional tennis players or female professional tennis players, they studied about 1,500 of each. So nearly 3,000 professional tennis players were studied altogether. And it was found that left-handers have a real advantage to right-handers. Uh, and again, I think it might have something to do with your opponents not being quite as used to playing against a lefty as they are playing against a righty. I don't know. But again, clearly there's an advantage there to being a lefty. And also in baseball. Baseball, uh, and this is coming right from MLB, Major League Baseball. So according to them, lefties have an advantage at several different positions, but especially among pitchers. If a pitcher is left-handed, uh, they can throw curveballs and sliders that are more difficult for batters to hit. And again, it has something to do with you're not used to facing lefties quite as much as righties, but yeah, and the angle at which the ball is coming to you, well, toward the strike zone anyway. And and yeah, so that's so we've got water polo and boxing and tennis and baseball where lefties have a big advantage. And if you know of any other sports where lefties have an advantage, please put it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. And I do promise that I reply to the comments. And while you're at it, please think to give this video a like. That will really help it in YouTube's algorithm. And comments also big helps. But I promise I will reply to your comments because I love this about YouTube where we can really keep the conversation going even after the video has ended. Anyway, and so now we have the next fact. I mentioned how lefties are in the minority, right? And it's not even close because, well, according to the BBC, um, approximately between 10 and 12% of the world's population is left-handed. And so that's they say approximately between 10 and 12%. So that's about anywhere from 1 in 10 people to 1 in 9 people, something like that. So that's not a huge percentage of people, but significant nonetheless. And this is corroborated, the 10% thing is corroborated by the 2024 census, the United States Census of the population 2024. And this is about the population of New York City. 1 in 10 New Yorkers are left-handed, according to the 2024 census, because, well, to put it in context, the total population of New York City was just shy of 8.5 million people, whereas the number of left-handers was just shy of 850,000 people. So it's about exactly 1 in 10 residents of New York City are left-handed. And and then of course, one thing to bear in mind is that handedness, how likely you are to be left-handed, varies a little by gender. And this sort of corroborates well, to go along with the approximately 10 to 12% of the population thing. Um, this will sort of fit in with that because men are slightly more likely than women to be left-handed. Slightly more. Uh, and so that means that if 10% of women were lefties, then that percentage would be about 12% for men. So then that gets you to the total lefty population of between 10 and 12% of the population, right? When you combine both genders. And yeah, so that's yeah, that's the thing. It's only 10 to 12% of the population are left-handed, and it varies a little by gender. So men are slightly more likely to be left-handed than women, just ever so slightly, but they are. It's significant. And then what's another fun fact about lefties? You know who else? I said that men are more likely to be left-handed than women slightly. Twins are also much more likely to be left-handed than singletons. In singleton, that's the word for when one baby is born during a birth, when it's, not twins, not triplets, just singletons. That's what we call it. And so twins are much more likely to be left-handed because, like I mentioned, how we have the overall uh, left-handedness of the population is between 10 and 12% among twins. According to the Washington State Twin Registry, 17% of all twins are left-handed. That's a much bigger number. Instead of being 1 in 9, 1 in 10, or 1 in 9, it's more like 1 in 6 twins is going to be left-handed. So that's a lot more likely than if you were not a twin. And this is said to be due to genetics and environmental factors, as well as the position within the womb. So there's a few different reasons. But this holds true for uh, when we're talking identical twins or fraternal twins. Either way, you're more likely to be left-handed than if you were not a twin, right? And I myself can attest to this. I'm a twin, but I'm a righty. But my identical twin brother is a lefty. Um, so that makes among just the two of us, that makes 50% of us are twins. Anyway, but yeah, so there's that. And we've got who else is more likely to be left-handed at birth? That would be children who are born to left-handed parents. They're also more likely to be left-handed. And this is if either one or the other or both of your parents are left-handed, you're more likely to be left-handed too. And that's from Medicine Plus, I mean Medline Plus, which is a decent medical resource. But yeah, Medline Plus says, yeah, whether it's one of your parents or both of them, you're a little more likely to be left-handed than someone who is born to two right-handers, right? So that's kind of fun too. And who else? Well, other babies are more likely to end up being left-handed. These are children born to mothers who are older than 40. And so if you are a woman considering having a baby, and if you're over 40, then you might consider yourself slightly more likely to have a left-hander after all. And this is according to a journal from Duke University Press, a journal, and the journal name is Demography, and this was way back in 2009. So I think it's volume 46, issue 2. But anyway, yeah, it's so there's some science scientific research that goes into this that, yeah, a child is slightly more likely to be left-handed if it's born to a mother who's older than 40. And so, who else? Um, or not who else? What else? I want to do something not related to birth right now. Um, do you know that left-handed people are typically better at multitasking? Yeah, I read this in science.org. And so according to them, lefties are better at multitasking because they have a larger, there's a part of your brain called the callosum, corpus callosum. That's the part of your brain that facilitates communication between the right and left hemisphere of it. And so since lefties have a larger corpus callosum, um, they are going to be better at multitasking. So I wonder if you know anyone who is really good at multitasking, you might want to just check it out and see if they're left-handed because very well might be true. And what else are left-handers a little better at sometimes? There is, according to the National Library of Medicine, left-handed people are more often creative than right-handers. And that's not to say that all lefties are creative, okay? Because not everybody is so creative. And that goes true for right-handers and left-handers. But if you are left-handed, you're slightly more likely to be creative. More often you're going to be creative, have creative talents anyway, because you're using the right side of your brain a lot more than righties do. Because, well, the hemisphere of your brain controls your motor function on the left side of your body, and vice versa. So righties are using the left side of their brain more, and lefties are using the right side of their brain more. And the right side of your brain is widely touted as the more artistic side, is the more creative and artistic side. And so, yeah, so left-handed people are often more creative than righties. And uh, one final fact I'd like to give you, I think this will be, I saved this one for end because it's a little more depressing in a way. But in some cultures, and this is, yeah, so because I'm getting into some more cultural things, this is a good thing. If you're left-handed, if you're naturally left-handed, this is a really good thing for you to keep in mind if you're planning on traveling internationally. Um, because in some cultures, it's considered rude to use your left hand for a lot of things. And again, if you're planning to travel internationally, you might want to check this out about the culture of the place you're traveling to make sure people are not going to be super against you for using your left hand on things. For example, I'll just give one example. Traditionally in India, it's considered rude or even disrespectful to touch food with your left hand because your left hand is often associated with more hygienic tasks like using the bathroom and stuff. So, yeah, if you're going to India, try to avoid touching any food with your left hand, right? That's important. But again, if you're left-handed and you're planning on traveling internationally, you should probably look into this just to make sure that people are not going to have a bias for you, showing your left-handedness, right? And so that was my list of fun facts for about lefties for International Left-Handers Awareness Day. And so thank you so much for sticking around for this. And again, please do drop a like on this video. I would really appreciate that. And again, yeah, if you have any comments or questions about left-handedness and the things lefties are better at or worse at, or other things that you deal with, such as the frustration of being left-handed and trying to use right-handed scissors or other right-handed things. Anyway, I would love to hear it, and I promise to get back to you. And so, also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, all we do here is explore language and culture. So, if that sounds interesting to you, just click on the subscribe button. It's free and nothing at all is behind a paywall. Um, and yeah, I look forward to talking to you again very soon. And so, until then, catch you around next time. Bye bye.